NFL Week 3 is here, and we are looking at some
Ooh,
player
boy.
props stats that we are going to go higher and lower on. We're going
Mm-hmm.
to give you some of our favorite for Week 3 matchups. If you guys want to play Pick'ems, you can use our promo code LAND at UnderDogFantasy.com. Sign up link is in the description. You'll
That's
get your
right.
deposit matched up to $100. Then join our Discord and let's see what kind of Pick'ems we're making together. We are looking at this weekend slate for Week 3. And I feel pretty confident in in the 5 that I've chose, but of course, I've been confident before.
Yeah, we've been confident every single week until Sunday comes and we see all our guys doing the complete opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I've had one where I've hit 4 so far out of 5, but
Mm-hmm.
that 5th has just been elusive. I think I'm using insurance today. We're gonna talk about that here in
Sure.
a second.
Sure.
Okay. I'll start off and then I'll hand it over to you. So
Mm-hmm.
let's start with Las Vegas, okay, and more specifically, Sir Derek Carr.
Okay.
So I'm going Derek Carr higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. They play at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And look, while Carr, I think it's fair to say that I think we could all agree, like, Carr's been disappointing this year.
So
I
far,
think,
yes.
the team relatively relies on his shoulders when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to success. He's had 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. However, for this stat here in particular, he has not hit lower than 1.5 all year. He's had 2 touchdowns in both games. And Tennessee, which the defense that he's facing, hasn't allowed, they have allowed, 2 passing touchdowns to both of the quarterbacks that they've faced. One is Josh Allen. You think that's easy. The
Right.
other is Daniel Jones. So
Come on,
Daniel
baby.
Jones also was able to throw 2 touchdowns on this Tennessee team. And the defense in Tennessee looks really, really bad. It looks atrocious. When you have weapons like Adams and Waller, like, you find enough opportunity here to have at least 2 passing touchdowns. So I'm going to do the higher there for Derek Carr. And then I always find it a little bit harder to find the lowers, but at the same time, obviously there's lowers every week because we don't hit our hires.
Right.
I'm going to do Aaron Jones lower than 98.5 rushing and receiving yards.
Okay.
Okay. And I think the reason this stat is so elevated is because of the performance last week. I think typically, from what it seems to me, they look at the previous performances throughout the year and they try and put a stat line
Exactly.
somewhere around there.
Exactly.
So I'm doing Aaron Jones lower than this 98.5 total yards. Last week, Aaron Jones had 170 total yards. I didn't say that wrong. 170 total yards versus the Chicago Bears. And he looked incredible. Like, he truly looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But you were facing the Bears. This week, you're facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers defense is currently allowing just 55 total yards on average to opposing teams' RB1s. So Zeke in week 1 had 49 total yards. Ingram in week 2, 61 total yards. And while I understand that Aaron Jones is in a class of his own compared to Zeke and Ingram, this is a legit defense. And they have been very tough to beat. And the last couple of years, since the Tom Brady era, they've been very difficult to beat on the ground.
Yeah.
And this could potentially be a grinded out game. I mean, think about the past times we've seen Tom Brady's Bucks and Aaron Rodgers' Packers. We thought, oh, there will be absolute explosions of offense everywhere. And we haven't seen that. That hasn't been the case. It's been grinded out type games. So give me lower than 98.5 total yards. All right, we're going to Jacksonville here.
Okay.
And I know.
Here we go.
I know. Travis Etienne has been relatively disappointing this year. James Robinson has looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I would say Etienne actually has looked good. It's just James Robinson has also looked
it's just the production.
So
like, it's just not there. What we expected.
Production is not there right now. But
Mm-hmm.
before anyone turns this video off as I'm talking about Travis Etienne, James Robinson got a ton of work versus Indy. But let me ask anyone who's watching, and maybe even Badake, did any single one of us anticipate the Jags shutting out this Colts team?
No.
And
No way.
literally, like, dominating them on both sides of the ball?
No way.
That had a huge part to play in James Robinson having 23 carries. I mean, if that is a competitive game, James Robinson, who I think outside of that rushing touchdown was averaging like 1 yard per carry, you don't see that type of volume unless the team is managing the game, which
Right.
it was smart for this Jags team
I hear
to
you.
do that. So now you face the LA Chargers, who, I don't know, what do you guys think? Could Justin Herbert and the Chargers put up points against these Jags? I think they could. And I think that the game script is going to look a little bit different. And despite Etienne having a relatively disappointing start for fantasy football this year, which I believe it will get better, he has yet to hit the lower number on his receiving yards stat here.
Which is
so
great.
He has hit higher than 17.5 receiving yards in both games. So he's averaging 25.5 receiving yards through 2 weeks. Hasn't hit that lower number in a single matchup, despite being relatively disappointing. Okay. And I think the Jags are going to need to pass the ball a little bit more in this game than they did versus the Colts. I mean, that game, I think after like the second quarter, it was really hard to watch just because it was just James Robinson for a 1 yard rush and trying to manage the game clock, which it made sense for them to do that. All right. I'm going to Carolina for my next matchup here, and specifically the DJ Moore. I'm going lower. I'm going lower than 54.5 receiving yards for DJ Moore.
This is money right here for sure.
You like this one?
I like this one. I mean,
okay.
Do
you have it as well?
No, I don't have it. I'm just saying, like,
okay.
from what we've seen in the past, I don't want to ruin your take. Continue, and I'll jump in.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was like, oh, maybe we have the same one. Give me lower than 54.5 receiving yards. Look, I will tell you what DJ Moore has done this year, but this has more to do with the opponent than it is with trends. You are facing the New Orleans Saints, who are very legit on defense. The only reason they've been in these games thus far is because of their defensive play and their ability to keep their offense relatively in games. It's very hard to pass. Specifically, it's very hard to pass on this New Orleans Saints defense. As of now, opposing quarterbacks are averaging 202 passing yards per game on this team. Marcus Mariota had 215 passing yards. Tom Brady had 190 passing yards. And who do you think is guarding DJ Moore all day? It's Marshawn Lattimore, who just frustrated Mike Evans last week. Marshawn Lattimore is the X factor here, and I'm not sure that you're going to see a very good week for DJ Moore.
Completely agree. Yeah.
The only way DJ Moore has a good week is if there is some blown coverage and it's just a long 70-yard touch. You know what I mean? Like that's and that is possible, but I'm betting the lower here on DJ Moore, 54.5 receiving yards. He is averaging 43 receiving yards. In fact, his stats look exactly the same from week 1 and week 2. The difference is he had a touchdown in week 2. Six targets in both games. I believe 4 receptions in both games for 63 yards. And the troubling thing is that the Panthers have been in all of these games. They've been in every single one of these games. They've needed DJ Moore. They've needed to pass the ball, but still he's only getting 6 targets per game. I'll take the lower here. And then my last one, which I feel like I've already asked for forgiveness from the fantasy gods, but I'm going to go ahead and officially state my forgiveness on Drake London. He looks incredible. Drake London looks like Rodgers. A true alpha wide receiver.
He the guy.
It's not that I was like necessarily against him. I just maybe didn't like him as a prospect as much as others, but he's definitely he's legit. He's an alpha.
He's been great.
I'm taking Drake London higher than 57.5 receiving yards. In his first 2 games, he's yet to hit the lower number. Okay. In his first 2 games, he's averaging 80 receiving yards. Now you face a bottom of the league defense in Seattle, and I don't know if you can point to a single defensive player that can cover Drake London on this team.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a focal point of this offense. He has been a focal point of this offense. I mean, you could also bet the higher on Kyle Pitts here, I feel like this is a get-right game for Kyle Pitts, but I'm going to take the higher on Drake London here. He seems to be an absolute focal point of the offense, averaging 9.5 targets per game. So I'm going to go ahead and take these 5 pick'ems.
Submitted, baby. Big money. Ooh,
I'm gonna add insurance.
Okay.
I'm going to add insurance.
Okay.
And look,
I'm listening.
I can either make it much more difficult on myself to get $200, or I can try and turn that $10 into $100.
Fair.
That's how I'm looking at it. I'm going to try it this week. If I hit all 5, I'll regret it. But if I hit 4, which I've done before, at least I make some money. I wish the insurance didn't take so much away, but I'm gonna try it with insurance this week.
It's tough,
and I'm gonna see how we go with that insurance, because I feel like it might be necessary. It's so hard to hit all 5, so
it is hard.
That's my slip for this week. What are you feeling? What are you looking at?
Good luck. Once again, before I preference about take you into my takes, I said this in the Thursday night video. I'm doing a
Yeah.
little bit of a different approach. And my approach was two
Yeah.
questions I asked myself. What happened last week, and what can they improve going into week 3? Right. And then
Yeah.
the second one is, what is each team's goal going into this week? Who do they want to get going? How fast do they want to move the ball, et cetera, right?
Yep.
I am still looking at trends. I am still looking at previous games or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be. But that was my thought process in this game. So this may, some of
Yeah.
these pick'ems, the higher, lower ones may feel a little bit off, but bear
Okay.
with me here. Let's see if we can get this going. Let's start with the Raiders as well. You started with the Raiders with Derek Carr. I'm going to
Yep.
his boy, Devontae Adams. Give me higher than 6.5 receptions last week.
I like it.
Last week was a tough game, right? He
Yeah.
was targeted 7 times. He only caught 2 of those 7. First thing they're going to do is we need to get Devontae Adams going against this Tennessee Titans defense. Against this team,
Yeah.
it doesn't look good. Stephon Diggs just went, nuclear on them. Wide receiver 1. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. They're going to get Devontae Adams rolling early. I feel like this first drive, once they get the ball, four receptions and a touchdown, and it's going to continue to go, right? So I think this one's pretty easy for me. Give me Devontae Adams higher than 6.5 receptions.
I like it.
It's a get right game for Devontae. Coming from 10 receptions, going down to 2 to week 2.
Yeah.
He's going to go back right back up to that middle pack there.
Sure.
Let's go down to the Chicago Bears, and this is where it could get shaky, right?
Okay.
This is where it can get shaky, and I'm going to be going Justin Fields higher than 182 passing yards.
Okay.
And once again, it's not about what trends happening, because I can tell you right now, we should be looking at the trends from week 1 and 2. We should be saying this should be lower. But the first conversation I bet you everyone had in that Bears offense, the head coaches, it was like, we need to get Justin going. We need to throw the ball.
Yeah.
The past 2 weeks he's thrown the ball the least amount of times, and that's not what we want. We want to get Justin.
He's actually 33rd in the NFL in passing attempts, and someone made a meme about that because they're like, isn't there 32 starting quarterbacks?
Exactly, and this is what this is what they need to do. They need to get Justin Fields going and get him passing the ball. Week 1, 121 yards. Week 2, only threw the ball 11 times and completed got 70 passing yards. Yeah. I feel like this Texans defense is not the best, and if we look at the amount of yards the Texans defense gives to opposing quarterbacks, they are 6th. They give the 6th most yards to an opposing quarterback. So I feel really confident in Justin Fields. And let's stay with the Bears.
Okay.
Darnell Mooney has been struggling. If they get Justin Fields going, who else do they have to get going? Darnell Mooney. Right. Give me higher than 3 receptions. He just needs to get 3 receptions. The past 2 weeks, he's only been targeted 5 times, a combined total of 5 times. He will get more than that this week. I feel like I can guarantee you that personally.
I love it.
They have to get him going. And once again, I know this may not seem ideal. It may seem shaky, like, bro, the last 2 weeks, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
This
is make or break.
Yeah, it's make or break. The conversation they had is like, we need to get our guys going, period. All right?
Yeah.
So, once again, Devontae Adams, higher. Justin Fields, higher passing. Darnell Mooney, higher receptions. Let's go to the New York Jets. And this is where I'm going to go with Michael Carter, higher than 18.5 receiving yards. He hasn't hit the lower so far.
I like it.
He hasn't hit the lower so far. And this is where it's just common sense. They're playing the Cincinnati Bengals, a get-right game for them. They have to be better.
Yeah.
They Joe Flacco just threw over 400 yards on the Cleveland Browns. And they have a decent defense, right? It's not terrible. And the Cincinnati Bengals, just coming off the Super Bowl, it's a get-right game for this defense. For Joe Burrow, you expect the Cincinnati Bengals to be up high. And if they're not, and if they are, then Michael Carter's going to get the pass in the work in the air. Last week, he caught 5 out of 5 for 27 yards. Week 1, he caught 7 out of 9 for 40 yards. Once again, I feel like this is a hit easy. I mean, even if you want to stay with this team, give it to Brees as well. Yeah. Brees higher than 12.5 receiving yards.
His feels very doable as well.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go there if you want to throw another extra one down there. Now let's go all the way down to the Los Angeles Chargers. We scroll down all the way here. Austin Eckler, once again, it's a get-right game. Last week was terrible. Under 39 rushing yards, 14 attempts. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Justin Herbert is dealing with that rib injury. You think they want to?
Right.
You think Justin wants to throw the ball 30 times? No, they need to get Austin Eckler going on the ground. Get right game. They're playing at home. I mean, there's no weather concerns. There's nothing. They're playing in LA. Yeah. The atmosphere needs to be high, and this is the second half. I kind of like to bet on the second half games personally, like the second slate games.
Sure.
I just feel like the fantasy points just go crazy. But anyways, that's just a thought process, a mental thing. But 57.5 rushing yards. Give me higher than that.
Okay.
So these are my. This is it, guys. Devontae Adams 6.5, higher 6.5 receptions. Justin Fields higher than 182.5 passing yards. Got to get these guys going. Darnell Mooney higher than 3.3 receptions. Michael Carter higher than 18.5 receiving yards, and Austin Eckler has to get him going on the ground early. 57.5 rushing yards. I'm going to submit this. I'm going to do 10. I'm going to do insurance with you. I haven't done insurance yet.
Okay. Yeah. It feels like it's frustrating that you lose half of your return, but at the same time, hitting 5 is like mathematically almost impossible. Yeah.
So I'm gonna hit submit there. Let me know what you guys think of my thought process here. Am I going too crazy? Am I doing something dumb here? I mean, I don't know. I'm new to this. I think we're both new to this. So we're just learning as you guys are.
Let's talk about maybe some players or even games that we might be avoiding betting on, and I want to see if anything sticks out to you in particular. Mm-hmm. But for me, this Chiefs wide receiver room, I looked at it and I thought, man, look, like any one of these guys could hit the higher.
Yeah.
Any one of them. Mm-hmm. And the issue is, again, like I just have no idea who it's going to be. Oddly enough, McCole Hardman's actually been the highest fantasy score for the Chiefs here so far. But that's, again, it's only 2 weeks. Like, I just don't feel like I can rely on these trends. So I was kind of just avoiding, to be honest, I was avoiding that game as a whole. Yeah, like, I was avoiding any Matt Ryan stats after week 2, Jonathan Taylor after week 2, and I don't know if Pittman's going to be there or if Pierce is going to be there. So that was like kind of the big game I was looking at avoiding. I really don't know where this game's going to go. Is there a game in particular or a stat in particular that you were off of?
The one that I thought of was the Tua and Tyreek and Waddle with the Bills. Okay. It's hard. Yeah. I mean, we saw what they did last week. Phenomenal game for all three of the guys there. You see Tua here, 267 passing yards versus the Bills. You feel like, well, after last week's performance, you want to hit the higher there. They're playing the Bills. You might be trailing. It just feels like a trap. Same thing with Tyreek and Waddle. Great game. They have to get the ball rolling. They have to get if there was receptions here, I'm there.
Yeah.
Maybe the receptions will come later on closer.
Someone has to come down to earth is what you're saying.
Exactly. And I think this is what's good. I think this is not a get right game for either team, but this is like the Bills about to put you in check. Like, you just did that to the Ravens. That shit ain't happening to us. So we'll definitely see what happens.
Imagine if the Dolphins come out and win this game.
Oh my gosh. They're gonna be the talk of the town. Yeah, 100%.
And this is a huge game. This might be one of the games of the weeks of the week. Excuse me. Now that I look at like these matchups, this might be the game of the week. Miami, Buffalo. Is Miami a contender or a pretender? I mean, we're gonna actually probably find that answer here this week. Another one that I was a little bit hesitant on was Amon-Ra St. Brown, 71.5 receiving yards. That seems like pretty easy. But even in week 1, when he was incredible, he didn't hit over that number. So, like, he probably hits the higher, but at the same time, it's difficult to know exactly what's going to happen. Dalvin Cook, I have no idea what to do with Dalvin Cook as far as like these player props go.
I was going to speak on Dalvin before you continue. Yeah. I'm on the opposite side of that. Just because I thought about Dalvin and going with my thought process, what do they need to get right this week? Right?
Sure, I agree.
And you see with Dalvin having 6 attempts last week versus the Eagles, the lowest he's had in his career outside of injury, obviously. I think this is a get right game for him. Does he go higher than 18 rushing attempts? Maybe not. But if that was 15, 16, I think I would take the chance there.
I agree.
I
think that's what made it really difficult.
Yeah.
That's what made it really difficult because I look at these numbers, I'm like, all these are relatively high marks for what he's done this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's like, I agree. I think he probably hits over a lot of these, but like Underdog's not really helping us out here trying to bet on Dalvin. You know, like it makes it a little bit difficult. Maybe that's because maybe some of those should be lower.
Mm-hmm.
Rashad Bateman at New England. I don't know, this Ravens game, like 48.5, that should be easy. But again, he only had 4 receptions, and one of them was a house call. So those were kind of the main things that I was looking at. I don't know if there's anything else that you could point out, but
no, I mean, I think of Baker Mayfield hit the lower. I hit the lower last week with the Giants. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
A complete of 103 rushing yards and receiving yards for McCaffrey. He's hit higher in the rushing yards, but I feel like the total combined feels like you could hit lower. Dude, but yeah, it's tough.
The usage is so confusing.
Yeah, like, it's tough.
It's like we brought Baker Mayfield and we're like, hey, can you cook? Probably. And it's like, no, he can't. Like, give CMC the ball.
It's tough, man. Yeah. It's tough. Other than that, I think I'm there with you. I thought about Kyler, higher than 1.5 receptions or interceptions. Excuse me.
Interceptions. Higher than 0.5.
Higher than 0.5. I feel that feels like a good. It feels like a good one. Like if it's not negative, more good. But other than that, that's all I have so far.
Yeah, this is gonna be. That's a huge game too. Cardinals, Rams. I don't think anyone anticipates the Cardinals winning that game. I would say if the Cardinals come out and win that game, we have to rethink a lot. But I think the Rams are probably heavily favored.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyway, all right, guys. Huge love. Enjoy the rest of your football weekend.
Good luck.
Again, use our promo code LAND at UnderDogFantasy.com. There's a sign-up link in the description. And when you deposit at least $10, you get your deposit matched up to $100. And then you can tag us on Twitter. You can join our Discord and show us your pick'ems. Enjoy the rest of your football weekend. Good luck if you're doing any player props. Huge love.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLand fam.